Thank you, conference organizers, especially Ian Cassidy, to have me back here again. This is my third consecutive talk at Chile Explore. A couple of years ago, I gave a talk on success of developing a resource, a discovery at Neves Corvo. Last year, talked about our Eagle East discovery there, another acquisition in which we've made the most of finding and developing new resources. And this year, I'd like to call it like a progress report, really, on our Candelaria operation, what we've accomplished since the acquisition in November 2014. Probably should have asked you. Oh. Can we go back? Yeah. Didn't get teed up. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you. Right, so there are a number of references to mineral resources in this presentation. They're all 43-101 compliant. If you're looking for additional information, you can find it on CDAR in our number of technical reports filed there. So Lundin Mining is an international mid-tier base metal mining company with high-quality competitive mines in low-risk jurisdictions. We are a growth-oriented company. We're a Lundin company, needless to say, and have the financial strength to continue our successful corporate growth through additional smart value-add acquisitions. As you see, we've got 4 high-margin mine operations in 3 continents, and are looking to build on these profitable operations with our financial strength. This is our second quarter revenue breakdown, sales of $455 million in the second quarter. And I want to point out on the left, it's by operation, and the revenue is 60% coming from Candelaria. On the right is by metal, 2/3 of it copper. So you can see the impact that Candelaria has had on our company. This is our 2017 production cash cost guidance to the market. So this year we're looking at producing in total about 210,000 tons of copper containing concentrate, about 22,000 tons of nickel, and about 160,000 tons of zinc, all from my high margin operations. Our balance sheet as of July 26, we have a liquidity position of about $2.4 billion, largely cash balance and an undrawn credit facility. And we boosted that significantly this year, as you probably realized, through the sale of our joint venture interest in the Tenke mine in Congo. So we're obviously looking for good opportunities to deploy this money. Here you see our plans for how to spend some of that money. We announced the issuance of the first dividend in our corporate history this year. But the first thing we look at is what smart investments can we make into our operations that we've acquired along the way, and how can we add value to them and through smart investments. So we really have 3 along the right there. You can see we got 3 major capital projects and expenditures. The first 2 being at Candelaria, of course, our Los Diques tailing facility that's in construction there. I'll talk about it a bit more in a minute. And we're making a significant investment in revitalizing our mobile fleet there, in addition to an increase in underground development. At Neves Corvo in Portugal, we've got approved and going ahead with a zinc expansion plan there. And we've boosted our already large exploration budget, which should come in to about $75 million this year. We've worked very hard to realize, and I can say that being around 12 years from the beginning, we've worked really hard to realize year-over-year improvements in our safety performance, as you can see on the left there. We've also were awarded this year the International Green Apple Award for Environmental Best Practice for the Galmoy Wetlands Project, which was a project in association with the closure of our Galmoy mine in Ireland. So although we're a young company, we've actually taken things through discovery all the way through to closure stage in Sweden at the Lundin mine, and the closure of the Galmoy mine in Ireland. So let's talk about Candelaria, okay? Right, so everybody knows the location of Candelaria, I hope, in the Atacama region of North Chile, next to the city of Copiapó. In addition to a multi-mine complex, our assets also include a large exploration license portfolio, as you see in yellow there, and a port and desalination plant on the nearby coast connected with the pipeline you see there in the blue line. Lundin owns 80% of Candelaria in partnership with Sumitomo, who own the remaining 20%. The Candelaria Integrated Mining Complex consists of a large open pit there, you see, and an underground mine attached. Oh, here we are. Underground mine attached to the North Candelaria Norte, and a 75,000 ton per day processing plant. There's also the Ojos del Salado operations, which include 2 underground mines up to the northeast there, El Caparosa and Santos, and a second smaller processing plant. Note the active current Candelaria tailings facility there, which is nearing completion. And south of that, the Los Diquis tailing facility, which is, as you'll see in the next slide here, in full construction. So there's the current tailing facility in the background. In the foreground here, this is as of August 4th. As you can see, well advanced, and I can tell you that it's on schedule and on budget to be completed in 2018. So I want to talk about what we recognized in the opportunity when it came along and why it came along. For Lundin Mining, it has been a transformational acquisition, as the Q2 results show. I mean, 60% of our revenue is coming from Candelaria. Right. Also, though, it was transformational, and it got us into Chile, a place that we wanted to be for a long time when we were looking for the right entry opportunity, and where we truly believe that all big copper producers need to be. It was a special counter-cycle acquisition, off-market counter-cycle acquisition, in that our partner at Tenke, Freeport, they found themselves in a difficult situation, let's just say, through the sale or through the acquisition of some oil assets a few years back, and they were looking to liquidate some assets to deal with that. Now, they've got still obviously some great mineral assets in the company. Candelaria, for them, wasn't their number one asset. For us, it's transformational. So right there was the beginnings of a good fit for negotiation. But although the negotiations were tough, as all negotiations are, I think what really drove this to success was the high level of trust and understanding that was already there between us and our partner in Tenke. All right. What we recognized is there was significant mineral resource growth potential at all scales at Candelaria, in mine, near mine, and regional. We saw it in 4 particular opportunities. Firstly, as you see in the list there, Freeport used a $2 pit shell there. All right, we saw that as being very conservative, particularly a company of our size and growth oriented, and we thought that undervalued the resource potential there and what you could do with the mine if you increase that. Secondly, a considerable underground mineral resource growth potential of both the north and south sectors at Candelaria, north and south of the pit. Thirdly, the opportunity to grow mineral resources at Santos and El Caparosa. They only had 2 to 3 year mine lives when we acquired them. And fourthly, the opportunity for new discoveries within large district land package that frankly hadn't seen much exploration in the past 20 years. The acquisition, of course, like all acquisitions, was not without risk, and there was some significant risk. The most significant risk being the Los Diquis tailings facility, the permitting of it, and the construction of it. Could we do this in time before the existing tailing facility was full? Most of us here are geologists, and so are already aware of Candelaria's significance as a world-class copper-gold deposit and as one of the type deposits, if you will, that created the then new IOCG, or iron oxide copper-gold deposit type. The past production, current copper in M&I mineral resources, as you see here for Candelaria, is 9.4 million tons of contained copper. But if you add in all the other mines and known deposits in the district, which there's several, and you add that all in, we're probably right now looking at about 13 million tons of contained copper, known and past production. And there's likely to be a lot more. So Candelaria, the system itself is a very significant repository for copper gold in world standards. Here's a summary of the history of Candelaria. The key dates really being 1987, Phelps Dodge discovers Candelaria while testing an IP anomaly at depth between two known small copper mines, the Lara and Bronce mines, which are essentially hanging wall mantos above what is now the pit. In 92, mine construction began. 2005, underground mining begins at Candelaria Norte. And 2014, Lundin Mining acquires the operations from Freeport. So I'm going to show a series of waterfall diagrams to show you the changes in measured and indicated mineral resources over time. On the left is December 2013. That was the last mineral resource estimate prior to our acquisition. And on the right is the latest one, June of this year. Right, so December 2013, June of this year. In gray is the actual mineral resource estimates year over year, and that's measured and indicated only. Orange is the mining depletion. Blue is the incremental growth that we've added to it. And so then the red boxes are essentially the net growth in mineral resources by Lundin Mining since that acquisition. And the bottom line here is in 28 months since acquisition, to mid-year, to July, into July this year, we've seen an increase of 90% growth in measured indicated mineral resources overall at Candelaria. That includes mineral depletion. So then I'm going to go through each of the mines itself with a similar waterfall diagram over the same time period again. So for Candelaria Open-Pit, you see there's a net increase of 14%. In measured and indicated mineral resources, which equates to 287,000 tons of copper added after mining depletion. Candelaria Underground, there's north and south sectors, principally Candelaria Norte mine just to the north of the pit. This is where we've seen the most gains since acquisition, 1,200% net growth in measured and indicated, which equates to about 1.7 million tons of contained copper is what we've added there after year-over-year mining depletion. So it's a pretty significant number in a little over 2 years. Now I want you to note there's one blue box there that says model integration, and I'll get to this, but we added 363,000 tons of copper this year due to the integration of separate historically fragmented block models without drilling a hole. Candelaria Underground, it's separated. There's the north sector, which is principally, you see the Candelaria Norte underground workings there, and we've continued what Freeport was already onto, which was expanding it off to the north. The underground south sector there there's no production out of there. You see there's just some initial development exploration drifting there. That's an area, as you can see on the right, where we've really developed new resources there will become ore bodies. And it's open to the south yet. Now, as I mentioned, we added about 360,000 tons of copper to measured and indicated mineral resources, just as a result of integrating many individual fragmented resource block models, as you can see down in the bottom left there. Each one of those blue boxes had its own block model that was entirely separate. Now, in order to integrate those, you've got to have one common geological model and understanding, and set of interpretations, including really basic things, but important distinctions between, for example, what is manto versus vein type ores between these blocks, as you can see up in the upper right there. So there were some very basic things to do, but incredibly important things to do that really are underlain by coming up with one common understanding and agreeing upon that. And one of the results that came out of this, perhaps unexpectedly, was to add 360,000 tons of copper. So these exercises aren't simply, academic. At Alcaparosa, we had a big quick win there by focusing on an extension to the north that we call the Viviana sector that we drilled off mostly in 2015. And again at Santos Mine, the significant incremental gains in M&I mineral resources were realized by also integrating fragmented historic block models and by aggressive mine exploration since 2015. So if I come back to this total or cumulative waterfall diagram for all of Candelaria here, I'll just reemphasize that what this adds up to since we acquired in November 2014 to the middle of this year is a net increase in measured and indicated mineral resources of over 2.5 million tons of contained copper and over 1 million ounces of gold in a span of about 28 months. So that's a net increase of 90% in that time period, right? And that includes the mining dilution that's going on in that time. So what does all this really mean? This is an important diagram. This shows you the life of mine copper production profile. So the gray line you see there is the copper production profile as it stood when we acquired Candelaria. The year-over-year orange blocks there, right, represent our current mine, according to our current mine plan, our copper production profile. So one thing is what does this all, the increase in resources mean? We've also had a 65% increase in our mineral reserves. And this has allowed us, as you see, a significant extension in mine lives at all of our mines and a vast improvement in our copper production profile. It's now 7 years pushed out to 2035. And as you can see, we smoothed out some of the significant year-over-year bumps in copper production. And we brought forward a whole whack of copper production. So how were we able to accomplish so much in such short time? Well, first and foremost, I guess we recognize a great resource potential during our due diligence that could be capitalized on if we had the right organization, people, the right set of tools, processes, and the right budgets and support. Well, the budget and support was really the easy part. That's why we made the acquisition. We saw the organizational changes that are needed, and not simply within exploration resource development area, across the organization, which is pretty typical with big mergers like this, particularly with a company like us coming into an operation like this. But we saw that those changes were going to take 1 to 2 years, and we couldn't wait. We weren't going to wait around 1 to 2 years for everybody to get set and then start, our resource development and exploration. So we came up with, as you see in the upper right block there, those colorful blocks there, what we came up with a process we call a resource development process, and it's got 4 key parts: a formation of a resource development team, the development of a district, truly 3D GoCAD model. Thirdly, what we call a MIRA process, which is a mineral inventory range analysis. And fourthly, a resource development potential analysis, or RDP. Now, the resource development team, really the concept here is forget about the current hierarchy and organizational structure and whatnot. Put the people in the room that need to be in the room, period. And give them authority and support to do what they need to do. And that's what we did, very simply, right? And it worked because there was top-down support for this while all these other changes were being made. The key we saw, we needed a really powerful visualization tool in which all the data resided in one place that everybody could look at, get it out of the geologists' heads, put it into a usable model in an unbiased way, and test it and use it. And that's where we went to 3D GoCAD model. So it took us a year to put together our first version of workable version of that GoCAD model. It was a lot of work, and I won't go into the details of it, but please talk to the people involved in this room in that, and you'll understand the level of work that we had there. The second powerful new tool was the MIRA process mineral inventory range analysis, which included mine planning and other strategic areas. We need their feedback of those people in the room so that we can help determine what the exploration target priorities are. So they're not sort of the chief geologist's, pet project that he wants to go back to year after year. We supported aggressive exploration budgets to shorten the cycle times and reach decision gates faster. And then testing and implementation of new targeting tools, first in near mine areas to get our comfort level up on them, and then take them farther out to the district targets. So very quickly, I know I'm at the time here, but I want to show you very quickly just a couple examples. This is an example of near mine targeting tool development, if you will. The Candelaria pit here. So you're seeing in yellow the known manto. That's from known because we're mining there in Candelaria Norte, and it's drilled off. And what we did was very large loop time domain EM there. IP works, but it won't work here because there's a huge waste dumps. You can't do IP over waste dumps, but you can do EM over waste dumps. And EM is more mobile, more adaptable, different conditions, and cheaper. And as you can see, there's a very good correlation. We got our comfort level up on that. So this is one of the things, using an ore body to calibrate against, we've now taken away from the mine in our district exploration. And one last example here. The Candelaria Open-Pit in gray was designed to extract a high concentration of copper gold ore, the red intercepts there, drill intercepts, developed at the junction between a mineralized manto horizon in yellow and a cross-cutting magnetite-rich breccia zone in blue. As the drill intercepts in red indicate, the copper mineralized magnetite breccia body is open at depth. The drilling was originally designed to define the original pit depth or outline rather than close off this copper gold mineralization at depth. So we've implemented a targeting tool combination of 3D magnetics and gravity to help us direct our drilling at depth on what is perhaps the extensions of that copper gold mineralized breccia. And if you see, we've just started testing it, and 400-meter step out from the last known magnetite breccia below the pit there, and I can report to say that we've intersected some thick magnetite mineralization with significant copper in it. So that's pretty exciting. So in conclusion, in summary here, since 2014, we've worked hard to realize the great opportunities that's presented it to ourselves, right? It was a successful counter-cycle acquisition. We addressed the key risk at Los Diques, the tailing facility, in the permitting. The construction will happen on time. We've realized a 90% increase in contained, measured, and indicated mineral resources overall, which translates into a 65% increase in contained copper and gold in mineral reserves. We've extended the life of mines at Candelaria, Santos, Alcaparrosa, the pit, and extended and improved our copper production profile, which has provided us the platform for additional future growth, which we are very confident that there's more to come. So lastly, I just wish to acknowledge some people here and the tremendous efforts made by all those staff and consultants at Candelaria, past and present, who have helped to realize this opportunity. In particular, our past and present presidents of Candelaria Operations, Peter Quinn and Phil Brummett, the resource definition team, a number of which are here today, led by Karen Cords, who have been absolutely central, of course, to the success. And finally, our Santiago-based team, led by Tim Walmsley. And just a special thanks to Ian Cassidy for waiting for 2 years for me to give this talk. He wanted me to do it 2 years ago, but Ian, we needed the 2 years to be able to talk about something, so I hope it was worth it. Thanks very much.